Let's take a few minutes to talk about the importance of knowing yourself enough to be your best cheerleader. The times you thought you had it all laid out and it just didn't work. The times when you burned the midnight oil day after day and it didn't seem to help. These are the times that you have to rely on your own self-encouragement. Take responsibility for the missed opportunity or the misrepresentation. Be prepared for the letdowns that happen every so often. Know that this lost opportunity just sets you up better for the next one. Study your mistakes and learn from them. Don't dwell on the mistakes. Learn from them. Encourage yourself that you're smarter than your bank account leads you to believe. Remind yourself that you're bound to get better. Don't get down on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. You can do it better next time. You just have to practice. Keep trying. Keep trying until you've got it down. If you figured out what it was in your presentation that didn't work, don't say that next time. Don't beat yourself for messing up. Pat yourself on the back for figuring it out. You need to pump yourself up. You need to be your own cheerleader, because you can't wait and hope that someone else will come along and cheer you up, tell you that you'll do better next time. You have to rely on yourself. You have to have the inner belief that everything you're doing for a positive outcome in the future. Encourage yourself with your goals, your dreams, your ambition. Knowing that you've got a plan. Knowing that you're going to do it until. There's an old cowboy saying, fall off a horse 7 times, and you're a real cowboy. If you fall off track, get right back on. If you fall out of habit, get back into the habit. If you fall off the horse, get back on. It may be hard, it may be a bit frightening, but get back on. We must all suffer one of 2 pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. It's much easier to be disciplined and have the money than to try to rationalize why you don't. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. Develop yourself to the point that you can truly and totally rely on yourself. Too much of anything is a bad thing. Life without balance results in an unbalanced life. Eating an apple a day is good. Eating only apples is bad. Working hard, burning the midnight oil, doing it until is good. Working nonstop, never spending quality time with the people you love, never taking a break year after year, is bad. It doesn't work that way. You've got to stop and ponder where you've been and where you're going. After all, if you're always working, you must be successful. No, it doesn't work that way. For workaholics, there's never enough work. The only satisfaction is fighting off sleep, denying life's pleasures, getting more tasks done. These people are generally more task-oriented than results-oriented. They're busy being busy. Now, wouldn't you prefer a life of productivity rather than a life of tasks? When you schedule your time and take advantage of your time, you can work smarter instead of working longer, and still have time for other things in life. I will look for new ways to work smarter by focusing on doing more per hour instead of doing more hours. Too much of anything, even good things, will sooner or later throw you off track. Ambitious people don't see each step toward their goals as a singular. With everything they do and with every discipline they adhere to, they see it all as part of a chain. Every action and every discipline today is a link in the chain. Every action and every discipline tomorrow is a link. When you can see that every link in the chain will eventually lead you to the things you want most out of life, then you won't grow discouraged or fearful or impatient with today. Part of this visual chain thinking is built when you decide on your direction, when you can see where you're going to end up before you get there. Your plans and goals are your visual chain, knowing where you're going before you get there. Not one professional team in the world begins a game without a complete strategy. Few of us take the time to map out a strategy for our lives. Here's the first rule for your game plan of life. Don't start your day until you have it finished. Don't start your day until you have it planned. And do this every day. Once you've mastered the art of planning your day, you're ready for the next level. Don't start your week until you have it finished. Just imagine what life would be like if you took time out of every Sunday to plan your week. Come Friday, you won't be saying, boy, did this week fly by. No, if you plan your week before you start it, you'll know exactly what you want to do, what you need to work on. Your days will be better, more effective. You'll be working smarter, not harder. It's great discipline on your part, but it will soon lead to a new habit, a habit of mastering your time. If you're doing all that you're scheduled to do, game plans are very rewarding. Day by day by day, week by week by week, you'll see the magic of your dreams and plans turning into reality. It's an incredible feeling of being in charge of your life. And what's really powerful about creating game plans is that you can see your future right before your eyes. So on those days when your energy isn't up to par, on those days, use your game plan to see how far you've come. On those days, it's your discipline and visual chain of the future that will pull you ahead. Develop a game plan for your life. Make sure that your game plan includes time for recreation, time for reflection, time for health, time for spirituality. And you have to maintain the discipline of working your plan until you've got it down. Your consistent self-discipline is the magic catalyst.
I want to talk to people who are hungry to make an impact with their lives, who are hungry to make this year the best you've ever had. I don't want to just casually get to the end of life and, oh, well, that was a nice ride. No, my goal is to finish strong.
Stefan.
And so the question becomes, what are you going to do now?
When you have these ideas of greatness, you got to go forward, because it's not going to be a right time. If you ever planning on soaring, you're going to have to jump. But if you don't do it now, when you going to do it?
Live with a sense of urgency. Live your life in such a way that life don't owe you any change.
Somebody hurt you a year ago, 10 years ago, or a lifetime ago, and somehow deep down inside you can't shake it. Sometimes you say it never happened, but you know deep down inside it did happen. So you try to deny it, and that doesn't work. You suppress it, and somehow it keeps popping out, and sometimes it pops out in an embarrassing fashion. You know that deep down inside something happened back there that you can really identify. In fact, you can point your finger to the person. And what seemingly was merely a little hurt in the beginning somehow is solidified like concrete in your mind. It's just there. It lays there. It hangs there. The burden of it is there. You'd like to shake it. You'd like to get rid of it, but somehow you just can't do it. You got hurt so badly that somehow you feel like, I will never be able to overcome this. Well, I want to tell you, my friend, yes, you can. Because you see, if you don't overcome the hurts of the past, what you'll find out is this. Those hurts can do great, great harm to your life. So what we have to do is we have to decide how we're going to handle this hurt. Am I going to handle this hurt in such a way that it harms me in every aspect of my life? Or am I going to learn how to handle this hurt in such a fashion that I can take it and I can handle it properly and be able to learn something from it, glean something from it, grow up as a result of it, and not allow it to hurt me? Because God does not want us to respond to hurts in such a fashion that we are devastated in our life, lose our witness and our testimony, go through life bearing some kind of emotional baggage that we are never able to escape.
And our great physician says, I got the prescription. He said, what's happening is you get hurt by somebody, and it turns to anger. And that anger eventually, if not dealt with right, it turns to bitterness. And if that bitterness just stays there, it becomes what the Bible calls a hardened heart. And it changes who we are as people. It changes who I trust or don't. It changes who I let in or don't. It changes how I respond out of my insecurities. It changes how I crush people with my words. It changes how, if I just meet you, I start off not trusting you instead of trusting you. It fires off my insecurities and all kinds of, it changes this hardened heart that comes from bitterness. It changes who we are and how we live. And the great physician says, I got the prescription. Here it is. You don't have to live that way. Here's the prescription. Be kind and compassionate to one another. And here's the word. Forgive. Forgiving each other, just as in Christ, God forgave you. The great physician says, I got the prescription, and it's forgiveness. And if you can actually go through this, but he doesn't pull punches. He said, I'm not going to play around. It's a painful process sometimes to forgive. And depending on the wound or the hurt that you're trying to forgive for, it can be even more painful. I'm not coming to you from a place of I don't know any hurt. Now, I don't know your hurt, but I know that it hurts. I know what that feels like. And I know that God says, I want to take you through this process called forgiveness because you can get rid of that hurt, which will get rid of that anger, which will get rid of that bitterness, which will begin to soften your heart and change the way you live. He says, I got the prescription. It's called forgiveness. And it's not easy to talk about, but if you can actually walk through it, it'll change things. Forgiveness is about freedom. It is not about justifying the other person's actions. It's not us saying it was okay that you left. It was okay that you abused. It was okay that you betrayed. It was okay that you lied. It was okay that, no, we're not justifying anybody's actions by forgiving them. Gotta be clear on this. We're not letting anybody off the hook. God says, don't worry. Justice is my job. Wrath is my job. Judgment is my job. I got you. There are consequences for people who hurt my kids. I got you. Nobody's getting let off the hook here. It's not a guarantee of reconciliation. It's not a guarantee that we'll ever do life together again. Because forgiving doesn't mean we keep doing life together. Right? Listen to this. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. And until we can actually surrender our right to punish the person who hurt us, we haven't actually forgiven. Here's what I keep hearing. Oh, I forgave him for that. But then later in a conversation, you go, oh, really? Am I really going to trust you? Because I couldn't trust you last year. Oh, is that really what you mean? Because I think we've been here before, haven't we? Oh, now I can trust you. No, now I can trust you? Oh, I forgave you. I'm still going to make you pay for it. You've got to actually forgive and say, I'm not going to make you pay for that mistake anymore. That's what forgiveness looks like. And that's what's going to allow us to continue in this relationship and see all God wants us to see. Man, this is huge. We got to surrender our right to punish.
Let's define what forgiveness is not. Forgiveness is not justifying the other person's actions. Forgiveness is not forgetting it. It is not denying it. It is not excusing what that person's done to you. You see, if I forgive someone, here's what I've done. I've said I deliberately and willfully lay down, put aside this debt that you owe me as a result of somehow the way you hurt me. And so I'm going to lay it aside. I put it down. No longer hold it against them anymore. Now, does that mean that everything is absolutely correct between us? Not necessarily, because you see, listen carefully. You and I are not responsible for someone's response to our forgiveness. You may be forgiving. God may heal you, and the other person who did something to you may not ever be healed. They might not be interested in healing. Their malice is just as strong today as it was yesterday. And so therefore they may never change. But you know what? You and I are responsible for changing no matter what the other person does. We are not responsible for another person's actions. They are responsible for their own responses. They give an account to God for their own responses. And then accept the forgiveness that you have given to the other person as done. And my friend, from that moment on, the healing process will take place in your life, begin to take place in your life. And what could have or was harming you and hurting you far more deeply than you realize, the healing process will begin to take place, and God will set you free.
You know, sometimes we think that we're actually hurting the person who hurt us by holding on to the hurt and holding a grudge. That somehow me being mad long after the event happened, that's somehow making you miserable. All right? It's like drinking poison and hoping you kill them with it. You're only hurting yourself with your anger. Let me ask you this. Is it worth it? Is it worth it holding on to that grudge? Is it worth it being bitter? Bitterness is not worth it. Resentment is not worth it. The price is too high. You need to not go one more second without dealing with it right now. How do I let go of a hurt that I don't want to let go of? What do I do with my hurt? First thing, number one, give it to God. Give it to God. Let Him handle it. Unload it on the Lord. You say it like this: God, this hurt is too heavy for me to carry. And I'm not smart enough to know what's the right thing to do about it. And I'll probably make a mess of it. So, Father, I'm giving you this hurt. That person hurt me. And I would like for you to handle it. It's now out of my hands. I wash my hands of it. It's in your hands. That's what you say. You give it to God. Who can handle it better, you or God? Never avenge yourselves. Leave it to God.
There's evidence in Scripture and evidence from looking at other people's lives that no matter what kind of a past you have, you still have a great future out in front of you, but you must let go of the past. And for some people, that means forgiving someone else. For some people, it may mean forgiving yourself, or actually receiving the forgiveness of God. So many people are mad at themselves, and they won't forgive themselves for mistakes that they've made and things that they've done. And honestly and truly, until you let go of the past, you really cannot take hold of the future that God has for you.
Every great man and woman has to rise above the pain of their past to reach their God-given destiny. There's a couple of sayings that I like. One is, until you let the past die, it will not let your future live. You have to forgive even yourself. You have to believe that the blood of Jesus is greater than your sin, and it is. Where sin does abound, grace does much more abound. We have to forgive people and forgive ourselves and stop letting the past have control over our lives. Another saying that I like is, forgiveness doesn't make them right, it just makes us free. I'm not saying they're right. And some people, even though I forgive them, I'm not going to let them in my life to get another shot at me. That would not be wise. But I'm not going to keep rehearsing and nursing the hurts and offenses of my past and letting the devil keep coming and condemning me for the things I've done wrong. Those things don't have any power over me anymore. I'm going to let them go. And I heard this saying one time, never follow a general without scars. And thank God our general has scars. Don't ever follow some poser that pretends as though they don't have any problems and they're above everything. Don't ever do that.
Whatever has wounded you, whatever you hide, whatever happened. See, when Jesus shows Thomas his scars, I'm glad he kept his scars. I'm glad he kept that part. I'm glad he didn't stay dead, but I'm also glad that he came out scarred, because that gives me hope.
Jesus was healed of his deadly wounds, but he was not healed of his scars. The scar became a testimony of God's ability to heal. When Jesus rose from the dead, He was healed of His deadly wounds, but God did not take the scars away. We want complete restoration where nobody knows we ever had an issue. We want such restoration that nobody knows that our perfect lives were not perfect. We want everybody to think that we have the picture-perfect family, the picture-perfect marriage, the picture-perfect life, and there has nothing because of my great faith ever come to my home. Scars are a testimony of God's ability to heal deadly wounds. Scars mean this is what I overcame. This is how bad it was, and this is how good God has healed me. And I'm not ashamed of my scars. And Jesus walked into the upper room after He rose from the dead, and He said, some people need to see my scars like Thomas, or they'll never believe. I'm saying to you, quit covering up your scars. They remind you of what you've been healed of. Wear them as a badge of honor. The scar proves how bad it was at one point. Hallelujah. I'd be a fool to walk around and act like I've never had marriage problems. I've never had family problems. I've never wanted to quit. But what you do is you look at the devil and you say, you see these scars? They're proof that you've tried your best with mortal wounds to destroy me, to wipe me out, to destroy my family, but no weapon formed against us could prosper because I serve a God who
give me a new mind means give me a new perspectives, give me a new way. And look at my circumstances, get my mind ready for this year. Because when I get this year, there's going to be blessings, there are going to be opportunities. Oh yes, it's going to be some struggle, it's going to be some, but even the struggle are an opportunity for me to show up the victory. If my mind can handle the chain, do you have the mindset to be blessed? You have to decide to be blessed. I will rejoice, as an act of my will. I have decided I'm going to rejoice. I made up my mind. I'm going to enjoy. I'm as healthy as I am going to be. I cannot get any younger. I will rejoice. See, that's getting on somebody's neighbor right now, not me. I cannot rejoice. I'm still angry. I'm not going to rejoice until he leaves. That's other man. You are wasting time. You have to let the past go and step over into the future and say, I will rejoice everything.